In this video, I'm going to tell you 4 secrets to help the kids in your ministry want to follow the rules. Does that sound impossible? Keep watching to find out how we do it. Have you ever seen these 2 types of classrooms before? In one, the kids are running wild, while the teachers kind of stand back and just let it happen. Either the teachers are afraid to enforce the rules, they don't know how, or they don't even realize that they should. On the other hand, the second class has teachers that are super strict with their students, and they're so rigid to the point that the kids aren't even having any fun at all. Some might even be wondering, is my teacher secretly an ogre? Obviously, you don't want either of those 2 extremes. So how do you get a good balance? In our experience, there are 4 keys to successfully enforcing the rules in your children's ministry, and you won't feel like an ogre by the end. The first key is to take preemptive measures. As the saying goes, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. A lot of common behavioral problems can be prevented if you 1. Lay out the rules and expectations, 2. Get rid of potential distractions, and 3. Keep the kids engaged. If you don't have a system of rules yet, you could use the 5 up rules and the 5 respect rules. The 5 up rules are great for a large group setting when most of the kids need to sit and listen. The 5 respect rules are great for most other settings, such as small groups, game time, and snack time. Make sure to review those rules every week. And here's an extra tip. Explain what it would look like to follow the rules. This helps the kids envision what behavior you are expecting, and it helps everyone get on the same page. Next, think of some potential distractions that you should be on the lookout for. Sometimes kids come to club with really cool toys, but those cool toys can be distracting. So ask everyone to put away their toys, either in their pockets or their backpacks, until after the lesson. Another potential distractions are windows, doors, and other busy areas, so try and face your students away from those things. Otherwise, they might start becoming more interested in a passing squirrel than in your lesson. Another distraction to avoid is bathroom breaks during large group. Try to let your students use the bathroom before you start your lesson, and then they're not asking to go while you're talking and distracting everyone as they come and go. Next, make sure that you keep the kids engaged. Behavior problems will definitely pop up if the kids are bored, but you can prevent this. Make sure that you eliminate dead time and allow all the kids to see, hear, and participate in the lesson. If you notice that you're consistently struggling with behavioral issues, ask yourself if there's anything in your control that you need to change, and then plan accordingly for the next time. I know that it can be hard to figure out what to do when you're struggling, so check out the rest of our channel for tips and tricks to handle dead time and improve your lessons. Also, please like, comment, and subscribe if this content is helpful to you. Now, let's move on to the next key to enforcing these rules without feeling like an ogre. The second key is to show and tell the kids how well that they're doing. This tip is really fun. Do you know what is a really good motivator for kids? There's 2 things, competition and rewards. And actually, these will probably work on most adults too. Anyway, use these things to your advantage. Teach them your systems early and review it often. By visualizing it, you make it feel more tangible for the kids. For example, you could use their name tags to track good behavior. Whenever you want to reward a student for good behavior, punch stars into this and praise them for what they did. At the end of the semester, the whole class can have a prize day where they use their points to buy rewards like small toys, cool pencils, and things like that. For large group, you can have another system to show how well they're doing as a group. Make it competitive by dividing the class into boys and girls sides. I like to use 2 jars and glass gems to track how well each group is doing. If they're following the rules or answering a question, their side gets a gem. If they're not following the rules, they lose a gem. Whichever group has more gems at the end gets to go eat snacks first. Or maybe they just get bragging rights. Either way, kids love the competition. And this can be a really teachable moment too, where you can encourage the winners and the losers to be gracious by giving a round of applause to each other. So those are ways to track positive behavior. But what about negative behavior? If a child is misbehaving, how do you show them that they are on the wrong path? This is where this comes in handy. It's called a check your behavior sheet, or a check sheet for short. I suggest that your team has just one person to be in charge of the check sheet. It could be your team leader or someone else who can discipline kindly but firmly. Whenever a student misbehaves, you will send them to that person. On the check sheet, there are 3 tiers. For first offense, the child will go and sign their name on the first section and then go back to the class. The first check serves as a warning. If the child misbehaves again, you will send them to get a second check. This time, they will get more serious consequences, like a 5-minute timeout. The person in charge of discipline should also have a talk with the child to help the child reflect on their behavior. And after the timeout, the child can rejoin the class. If they get a third check, they will have to sign their name a final time, and they will sit out for the rest of the class, and their guardians will be contacted to come pick them up early. If you explain the reasons kindly, the child will understand, even if they're upset at the moment. You're not rejecting them. It's just that their actions have consequences, and you're helping them learn that. As the Bible says in Hebrews 12:11, "Now no chastening seems to be joyful for the present, but painful. Nevertheless, afterward, it yields the peaceable fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it." The third key to enforcing the rules is simple, but it's easy to forget. It's to explain the why. This helps the kids understand the reasoning behind your rules. It's for the safety and order of the whole class, so everyone can have fun learning. It is not because you're an ogre who wants to be mean and controlling. You could even try asking the kids to explain reasons for the rules, and that will help them think about it for themselves. Here's an example of how you can explain these things in a kid-friendly way. Pay special attention to the teacher's attitude and how they involve the kids when they're reviewing the rules.
What is our up rule number 1? Yes, sir. Sit up. You are right. Who can tell me what these are for? What are these for? Yes, it is a point. So if you all answer a question correctly, or if I see you following the up rules, you guys earn points. So we got points for the boys for answering correctly and points for the girls for answering correctly. So number 1, everyone, let's say together, is sit up. Sit up. Good job. Do we have these rules just because we want to be like mean and we're like, we don't want you to have any fun? Why do we have these listening rules? Why do we have these rules, or why is it important to pay attention to these rules?
Because if you get in trouble, you can't come.
Yeah, sometimes if someone is distracting everyone else, you're making everybody not able to learn. So then we have a trouble sheet. Brother Henry, he's kind of in charge of the Bible club. Everyone say, hi, Brother Henry. Brother Henry has something called a check sheet. So the check sheet is just to help everyone be able to pay attention. So everyone give me number 1. If you get into trouble, so let's say you're being really mean to someone on your team or you're not listening, then your teacher will ask you to go get a check, which means you have to go and find Brother Henry and say, Brother Henry,
what's wrong?
I got a check.
You got a check?
I have to write my name on the check sheet.
Oh, okay.
So then he will give me the check sheet, and I will have to write my name on the first check. So that's the warning. We want you guys to make good choices so that everyone can learn and everyone can grow. Everyone give me number 3. You've got 3 chances to make good choices, right? So let's take those chances and do what's right.
The way in which you explain these rules, rewards, and consequences, it makes a huge impact on the kids. And your attitude as the teacher is one of the most important things to enforcing the rules. And that brings us to the final key point. It is imperative to be loving, consistent, and fair with the kids. Harking back to taking preemptive measures, try to build a relationship of love and respect with the kids before you ever have to correct them. Have you ever heard of emotional bank accounts? This idea is to build strong relationships with your students by regularly depositing positive emotions into their accounts with praise, kindness, and respect. This creates a reserve of goodwill that you can withdraw from during the more difficult interactions, like correction, which will deplete the account. If you need to correct a child, make sure that you've already deposited positive feelings into their account so that your balance is never in the red. At the beginning, it might be a bit rough as everyone gets used to each other. Many times, kids test the boundaries because they want to see if they can get away with something. If you're true to your word and you consistently uphold the rules, the kids will settle into the routine. That's why you should introduce a system of rules, rewards, and consequences as soon as possible. Otherwise, you'll let bad behavior build up until you punish out of frustration. There's a system for a reason, so make sure to use it. Lastly, be sure to reward and discipline your students fairly. No playing favorites. You might be tempted to give passes to your good kids, even if they do something to earn a check. But that's really unfair to the other kids and they will notice it, so treat everyone fairly. And if you have so-called bad kids in your class, try to start fresh with them every week. Don't be short with them or overly hard on them when they don't deserve it. Instead, try to see the opportunity for growth in them. In fact, don't even label them as bad kids, even if it's just in your head. Kids have the uncanny ability to rise or fall to your high or low expectations of them, so try to draw out the best in them. It can be truly life-changing for a child to have someone who really believes in them. When they feel that you are on their side, the rules transform from something that feels restrictive to something that makes them feel secure. Your students will even begin wanting to follow the rules, and you won't have to worry about feeling like an ogre who has to force the kids to obey you. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.